Hey guys, we are Sean and Christy. This is Long Long Honeymoon. Great question today from Alan Levine, who writes, just turned 70 and just retired. Am I too old to start RVing? Let's talk about your age. You should never allow a number to dictate what you do. There's no denying that RV travel can be physically demanding at times. For us, we have had a great experience with our RV. We've had many fun adventures. It's become kind of a part of who we are. But just because it's right for us, that doesn't necessarily mean it's right for you. We don't work for the RV industry. We don't sell RVs. What we want to do is empower you to make the best decisions that are right for you. We put a lot of videos out there that show the reality of RV travel. As far as whether you're too old for RV travel, how do you feel?
If you have a bad back, or if you have bad knees, or if you're in a wheelchair, or you use a walker or a cane or whatever, I would say you can still RV. It just means that you're going to have to do some workarounds. You may want to consider how much outside activities you want to do when it comes to setting up and breaking down camp.
Right, some RVs involve a little more effort to travel with than others. So your choice of RV may be influenced by how you feel on a daily basis.
Do you want to have to worry about hitching and unhitching? Would you rather be in a Class C or a Class A motorhome where you're in the unit, you don't have to go back and forth between a tow vehicle and a trailer, you don't have to worry about backing that up, it's much different than backing up a motorhome or a Class C. If you want to do more activities outside regarding setup and breakdown, then I think a travel trailer would be okay for you. If you don't want to do more setup and breakdown, outside, then maybe a motorhome or a Class C would be a better choice for you. So I think sort of knowing what you're willing to do helps you decide what type of RV would be right for you.
So you have a main control panel that's just got all sorts of controls on here. You've got your lights, you've got your water tank readouts, you got your house batteries, all your shades, your fans, your awning, and lifts.
I mean, there are some Class A motorhomes where once you back in your space, you literally just push a button and it sets the levelers down and it levels the motorhome out for you. And you basically come outside and plug into your power and plug in your sewer hose and you're good to go. If you're somebody with limited physical abilities, then a motorhome might be the right choice for you versus a travel trailer or a pop-up or, something like that where it requires more physical activities.
If you watch all of our videos, you're probably going to get a pretty good taste of what travel with an RV is really like. If you watch all of our videos and you decide that an RV is not right for you, that's perfectly fine. I'm totally cool with that. And in fact, I think we've done a great service for people who are watching our channel, trying to figure out if they want to buy an RV.
If you've never RV'd before, if you've never spent the night in an RV, you've never driven one before, go and rent one before you make a financial commitment to buying one. You don't have to go on some big major trip with it, but just go spend a week at a state park or a campground and just see what it's like and say, okay, is this something that I see myself doing? Is this something that I'm excited to do, that I look forward to doing? And then you'll have a better idea. You may be a raring to go 70-year-old, and that's awesome. But there might be some people that are 70 that might have a lot of issues and they spend a week in an RV and they think, okay, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Okay.
Change my eyebrows.
Let's go.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Yay!
Yay.
Happy birthday.
Another successful year on planet Earth.
Your birthday can be useful as a reference point, and it can be useful, frankly, as a motivating factor. My goal here is not to inspire you to go out and buy an RV. My goal is to inspire you to make the most of your life and make the most of the time that you have on this planet. You just retired.
Yeah.
I want you to be excited about this next decade.
Yeah.
Like whatever you do, I don't really care if you buy an RV. I want you to get out and make the most of your life.
Yeah.
And that may mean doing something else entirely. 30 years ago, I worked in Yellowstone National Park. I didn't have a dime to my name. I lived in a dorm room, sharing space with a lot of other people. When I worked in Yellowstone, the employees were mostly college students and retirees. And a lot of those retirees actually were living in RVs. You didn't make a lot of money, but you had an incredible experience. And even today, when I go to our national parks and national park campgrounds, I meet a lot of retired people, some of whom are living in RVs, who travel to the park during the season and work in the park. And it's just a great experience, a great lifestyle. Another point that I really want to make to you, you should never put yourself in a bad financial situation to RV. When I look at RVs, I typically see a depreciating asset. In order to enjoy life, sometimes we have to purchase depreciating assets. But you can be smart about the way you make those purchases. So, if you decide to RV, it may not make sense to run out and just buy the biggest, largest, newest RV on the market.
I think a lot of people assume when you start RVing that you should go buy the brand new, top of the line because it's never going to break, or it's going to be years before it breaks, or it's under warranty or whatever. And let me tell you, we hear from tons of people every day that bought a brand new whatever, whether it's a Class A motorhome or a fifth wheel or a travel trailer or an Airstream or whatever, and they have plenty of problems with it. Spends a lot of time in the shop. They spend money on things that aren't covered by the warranty, and it can be a big financial commitment.
Less can be more with RVs. There's nothing wrong with starting small, getting something modest. You can have a whole lot of fun, but you don't need to get some huge apparatus to get out there and enjoy the world.
Yeah, and sometimes simple is better, because when things are simpler, there's less to maintain, there's less to worry about fooling with when you get somewhere. So sometimes just having the basics is really all you need. We bought our Airstream used. We've had it for 12 years. It's worked great. Now, we've done upgrades and repairs to it for sure, but we didn't go out and buy a brand new one.
Now, this thing is apparently, or supposedly, only been used once in the last 4 years, and it's in like new showroom condition, and looks like a great deal. Looks like new. One of these things would cost about $65,000. We're going to try and buy this one for within our budget of around $30,000.
And I want to tell you a little bit more about the story behind our RV purchase, because it also makes a point. When we bought our Airstream, it was about 4 years old. We bought it from a consignment shop kind of place where they were selling it for someone else. It was in like new condition. The original owner was an older retired gentleman who bought the Airstream with the expectation of doing lots of traveling. He developed a heart condition and was physically unable to travel. And so after taking basically one extended trip, maybe with the trailer, they put it into storage, and it sat in storage for a few years, and finally they sold it off. Sad story, but it's a story that's repeated many times every year. So I think one of the morals of this story is, if you feel healthy enough to get out there and travel, you need to do it now. And I'm not saying necessarily buy an RV. I'm saying pursue your dreams now.
Don't wait for tomorrow, because we meet so many people and we hear from so many people that say, I planned all these years to do all this travel when I retired or when I got older and I had more time. And then they're like, now that I've got the time, I'm physically not able, or I don't feel like doing it. So I wish I would have just done it years ago when I could. I wouldn't have had as much time to go and do it, but I could have at least done it in small segments here and there over the years, rather than just waiting for that one day, because one day may never come.
Switch on real straight like that for me. Put your fist really tight.
know, the first time I gave like blood plasma one time. I passed out. I did it on an empty stomach, you know, which I later learned you're probably not supposed to do that.
You learned the hard way.
Yeah, I did.
Relax your fist for me.
Oh, that wasn't too bad.
We probably have a lot of people who are new to our channel who maybe aren't aware of some of our backstory here. I went through a very rough period with my health about 3 years ago. Broke my foot, first of all, which was just a big dumb accident. But secondly, I developed a pituitary adenoma, which is basically a tumor on the pituitary gland portion of my brain. It made me feel like I was dying. And my health just plummeted. I had extreme fatigue. I would wake up and immediately feel like going back to bed and just sleeping. I would sleep all day long. I had no energy. I literally felt like my body was shutting down. I finally reached a point where I went to a doctor to have myself checked out because I'm one of those guys who had just blown off going to see the doctor because I didn't have time for that or just didn't want to do it. So I got diagnosed at the doctor's office with this brain tumor, and it was a complete shock to me. You gotta understand, I had just gotten the diagnosis. I didn't really know what I was dealing with. I just knew it was some sort of tumor. I had an MRI done, and we were going to determine the size of the tumor and whether or not I needed brain surgery to remove or treat it. I'll never forget sitting on our back porch looking at the trees behind our house, just sitting by myself out there listening to the wind rustling through the trees and thinking to myself, I'm probably not going to be able to do this much longer. I'm probably not going to live to see my 50s. It was a few days later when we got the welcome news that this tumor could be treated medicinally. So I consider myself extremely lucky because my health has done a complete 180. A lot of you out there have kindly asked me about my health. My health is better than it has been in decades, but I know that it can be taken away any day. I really feel that having a health scare was one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life because it reinforced that point that our time here is limited. You may think you're gonna live this textbook lifespan, but a lot of times that's not the case. You develop a heart condition, you get cancer, you have a stroke. Okay, these aren't really happy things to think about, but they happen every day and they happen to a lot of people. So I want our channel and our videos to empower you to make the best decisions for yourself so that you get the most out of life. I want you to get out there and enjoy life. I mean, you've been working all your life waiting for retirement. Now that retirement has arrived, I want you to embrace it with gusto.
If you've got the drive to do it and you're, physically able to do it, then absolutely 70 is not too old to get out there and RV. You know, what's the old saying? If you didn't know how old you were, how old would you be?
I know a lot of you guys out there think we're a little bit crazy. I feel like I'm living the life I've imagined. I want you to live the life that you've imagined. I look back on a lot of the adventures we've had over the years. I can think of riding camels in northern Africa in the Sahara Desert, or bathing elephants at an elephant sanctuary in Thailand, or riding ATVs through the countryside in Cambodia, or taking our Airstream up to Alaska, watching orcas surface out near Kenai Fjords National Park, or just watching Old Faithful erupt at Yellowstone. All these have been really meaningful, incredible experiences. We want you guys to have similar experiences that will make your lives better, more fulfilling. Social media really cuts both ways. Social media is full of BS, okay? I mean, a lot of people are projecting fake lives on social media, and everybody does it. But there are times when social media, and I'm calling YouTube and videos, so forth, social media in this context. There are times when social media, I think, can be very helpful in that you're dealing with real people.
We're sharing our honest stories about things that we've experienced, the good and the bad, because, every day isn't sunshine and roses when you're on the road in your RV. There are some days that can really suck. And so I think you need to go into the experience expecting that those days will happen and knowing that you'll get through them.
Yeah, that's part of this great game that we're playing called life. And frankly, that's what makes life interesting and rewarding. You deal with challenges every day, and hopefully you embrace those challenges and they make you appreciate all the good times you have in your life. So, Alan, thank you so much for the great question. As you can see, this really touched a nerve with me, and I appreciate
Sean fired up.
I appreciate the opportunity to deliver some of this information to you. I hope it was helpful to you. I really want you to make the most of your retirement and make the most of the next decade. And then when you turn 80, I want you to get on a long, long honeymoon and tell me what you did in the past 10 years. And I don't care if it was with an RV, whatever is most fulfilling to you in your life, I want you to spend the next decade doing that. And then I want to see you in 10 years ask this question again and tell me what you're going to do in your 80s.
That sounds good.
And also, I want to throw the question out to you guys because we really benefit a lot from the exchange and hearing feedback from our audience. What do you think? How old is too old to get an RV and go traveling? All right, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to Long, Long Honeymoon, also known as Low, Low Ho. Well, it's tempting. I don't know, tarantula or snake? Difficult decision.
I say neither.
Eat local. Whatever you do, always eat local.